While schools often prioritize compliance and rule following, Dr. Kenny argues they should instead cultivate agency by teaching students to self-manage as well as engage in respectful disagreement. Those are values she discusses in her new book, out this week, already a bestseller. It's titled The Well-Educated Child, How the Principles and Practices of Quality Thinking, Agency, and Ethical Purpose Cultivate Deeper Learning. And Dr. Deborah Kenny joins us now, continuing her residency here on Morning Joe. We were happy to have you here yesterday as well. Let's start, though, with your essay. This idea of schools are such an important part of our civic fabric, right? We learn to be citizens from parents, sure, but also in schools. And talk to us about how the education and how it's taught can shape that.
Well, so the philosophy that I ascribe to is called deeper learning. And there are certain core ideas. One of them is student self-management and independence, rather than us tightly managing the kids, teach them to self-manage, which is very closely related to self-governance, right? Another core idea of deeper learning is the application of knowledge. Knowledge is important, but to really gain insight, you need to apply that knowledge. And so, for example, if you're studying civics and you're just reading about it, that's knowledge. But how do you apply that knowledge to really understand what it means to live in a democracy? So that's the philosophy. Now, in terms of practical, one example of how schools can do this, and even parents, is that at the beginning of the school year, you get the kids together, and instead of just saying, here are the rules of the school, and everybody follow them, and that's it, right? And we do have rules. Don't get me wrong. We are very strict. We do have rules, the obvious things, no gum, no cell phones, no fighting, the obvious. But how are we going to treat one another, and how are we going to live as a community in this classroom? And we have this process that we bring them through where on the very beginning of school we say, how do you want to feel? How do you want to feel at school? And always you will get amazing answers from kids, especially pre-adolescent and high school. They'll say, well, I want to be safe. I want to feel respected. I want to feel like I'm not going to be laughed at if I get a wrong answer. They will say things that they really feel. And then you say, okay, and you put it up on a chart. If that's how we all want to feel, how do we have to treat one another in order for that to happen collectively? Then they brainstorm again, and they say, well, we should promise to not laugh at each other if we get a wrong answer. If there's a kid alone at lunch, we should sit with them. They come up with every idea for how to live as a community. If we have a fight, we should, and then they'll talk about what to do if they're disagreeing. And so you're teaching them self-management and self-governance as 7th, 8th, 9th graders. And that's the application of knowledge when it comes to teaching them to live in a community.
Do you think some of the problem, though, is a lack of education around civics, like just the nuts and bolts of it?
Yes. I want to be clear. I am not saying that there should not be civics education. Absolutely. I would say that most people would agree there should be civics education. I'm saying that in addition to that, and in order for it to be internalized, you need to apply knowledge, not just hear it. So I'll give another example. Socratic seminar. If it's done well, students are reading, let's say, 3 or 4 books, maybe 10 articles, maybe even a speech or 2, and they're coming to prepare for sitting around a table and having an argument, the art of argument, where they have to come prepared to that argument. They have to come ready to cite their sources. And they learn what it means to have a civil argument and to really stand by your ideas.
So that's the case for more debate in schools, I think, a little bit, right? And I would love you to talk about that, because when you talk about depolarization, there needs to be some kind of modeling of how to disagree, right?
Exactly. And one of the things that I found disconcerting over the last few years, and I know most parents did, is that the kids who are sort of winning out on the college campus are the mean girls or the bullies or the people who, the young people who just shout the loudest, rather than what it should be and what we have to really teach kids in high school and prepare them and then teach them again in college clearly, is that no, it should be the person with the strongest idea, with the best idea, with the ability to back up their ideas in argument, and not the person who's able to make something popular and have all the other kids feel uncomfortable because the popular idea is the only one, but rather that they should be not as one part of their education, but every single year. Socratic discourse needs to be core to the curriculum.
The new book, titled The Well-Educated Child, author and founder of Harlem Village Academies, Dr. Deborah Kenny. Doctor, thank you again.